What's on, where, and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. Talk Nelson Radio.
Welcome to Football Focus, where we cover all things football in the top of the South. I'm Chris Butler, and welcome back to my co-host Paul Bryden.
G'day, Butts. How are you?
And a very special guest is Neil Geezer Harding. Good to have you here, mate.
Nice to meet you.
He's the Junior Football Development Officer at Nelson Suburbs Football Club and also the head coach of the Southern League women's team. On this week's show, we're going to be talking men's and women's local premiership, the Southern League men's and women's, some overseas news and New Zealand football news as well. And we catch up with Geezer about his career in football and the journey so far. But let's get right into it. The Nelson Pine Senior Women's Premiership, and we're going to go straight into the draw. Geezer, we do tips on this, so I'm going to have to throw you in the deep end.
Yeah, we should know a bit about it. He is the women's coach.
That's right.
He probably watched a bit of it.
Okay, so here we go. Hot House Creative Richmond Foxes home to the Mapua Cougars at Jubilee Park, and Hot House had a good win last week, 3-0 against Suburbs Reserves. Mapua had the bye, so what are your thoughts about this one?
My thoughts, Foxes are looking good at the moment. I don't like to say it, but 5-0 Foxes.
Oh, you're doing a score.
Yeah, he's picking scores.
Right.
Oh, is that what you wanted?
No, you can do that, mate.
Doesn't matter, son.
We won't hold it against
Oh, yeah,
you. We will hold it against you. Sprig and Fern Tahuna Breakers taking on Nelson Suburbs FC Women's Reserves. So Tahuna had a big loss last week, and the Reserves also had a bit of a loss. Bridie?
You'd have to fancy the Suburbs Women's Reserve to win that. I've seen Tahuna play. Not too bad. A couple of Isaac Cunningham's sister plays for them.
Oh.
There's a lady in midfield. I can't remember her name. Very good player. Could even play higher, but the Suburbs women's team, they're tied up with these guys and be far too good.
Yeah. Okay. And Nelson Suburbs FC Swans taking on Get Cars FC Nelson Diamonds at Saxton. And the Diamonds had a big win against Tahuna. And the Swans and Golden Bay, let me know about it, went down 4-0 over the hill. So
What'd we pick?
Well, you picked the Swans.
Oh.
They said they were going to be too strong over there. And I think, is it Phil Smith?
Yeah, he would certainly let you know.
He let me know. He let me know the halftime.
About that.
He will certainly let you know.
They did well, actually.
He let me know the halftime scored 2-0 and the full time and up Golden Bay. Never underestimate the Golden Bay, he said.
I'll tell you, it's that hill.
Yeah.
Car sickness, and then it takes it out of you.
Not good to travel.
No.
I tell you what, though, he'll probably have a go if they come over here and get some good wins as well.
Mm-hmm.
And have to get you on the show, Golden Bay, at some point as well. So big shout out to the Golden Bay Club. Yeah, so how are we going to go with that one? So that's the Swans versus the Diamonds.
The Swans are a little bit hit and miss. One week they'll be really good, get a good result, and another week they won't do so well. I think they struggle with players every now and then. They've got a lot of mums in the team. So it could go any way. If they've got their good team out there, the Swans could do it. But unfortunately, if they don't have their full team there, they could look for a loss there. So, yeah, close game, I think.
Not picking it? Draw.
Close to a draw. Yeah, I'll go for a draw there. Could go any way. So
You don't tell Matt that. Matt Walker, he'll go, what?
FC Nelson Wahine versus the Golden Bay Shield Maidens. So obviously Golden Bay had a fantastic win. And the Wahine, how did they go last week? 1-1 with the Motueka Angels.
Pile of mud. That's what it was.
That?
Yeah, just mud bath, apparently. Should have won it. But just conditions just didn't allow them to.
Yeah, I think I saw the pictures.
Yeah.
It was a mud bath.
Mud bath at Memorial Park in Motueka, which you get this time of the year. So
the Golden Bay Maidens do have to travel. So what do we think?
Well, Sasha said that they've got a few guys sick, a few players sick this week. There's a lot of flu going around at the moment, so they're a bit light on numbers. But look, full strength, she's done a good job with them. They could push them, but I would say Golden Bay turned over. Who'd they turn over last week? The Swans, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. They're playing well.
It's at the Botanics. And the good thing about the Botanics is actually a small pitch, so it suits the Wahine because there's a few young ones in it. Tight game. I would say, I don't want to upset Phil Smith, but I reckon the Wahine can get everyone on the pitch.
Yeah.
2-1.
All right, 2-1.
Yeah.
There
Close
you go. All right.
Yep.
And we've got the Foxes taking the lead at the head of the table, followed by, and with a game in hand, in actual fact, the Diamonds second and Nelson Suburbs Reserves in third. Reserves travelling quite well. So that would be a feeder side for your Southern League side.
Yeah, that's
Geezer?
right. Yep. No, the girls are doing well, actually. And they're through to the next round of the Cup. They beat the Foxes 2-0 and knocked them out of the Cup, but then they lost to them 3-0 a week later in the league. So it's touch and go in that league, definitely. So there's a lot of good teams there.
Nelson Pine Men's Premiership Division 1 and Rangers taking on Spriggan Fern Tahuna. And last week, they beat the Seals 3-0, so a good comprehensive win there. But Tahuna won 10-0 against Richmond. What went on there? Does anyone know?
Well, no, I heard that every time they went forward, they scored. I know Richmond did have a young player sent off just before half time. Actually, Gary Walton told me about his son was watching it, and it was a bit of a debacle at the back. Richmond, they weren't picking up people. They were playing a high line, and Tahuna got behind them and just took their chances. Yeah, it's a huge. It's a bit of an upset, really. Like the result is, I think Tahuna are doing all right. They don't get me wrong, but 10-0 is. Look, you get games like that. You get games in the Premier, like Liverpool beat Bournemouth 9-0, didn't they?
That's right.
And so on your day, everything just goes in for you. And I think that's probably what happened here because Richmond, they only lost to Rangers 1-0 and were right in it. So, yeah, look, disappointing result for them. But look, they'll bounce back. You just have to shake it off. You can't do much about it. It's happened.
Okay, you're a Tahuna man.
So
and we heard from Tahuna as well, saying never underestimate us. A draw. What are you talking about? How about 10-0, son? All of that. So we got that. What are your thoughts on Rangers versus Tahuna this week?
Well, that 10-0 is definitely a good result for the boys.
Confidence.
And the first team have come a long way this year, to be honest. They've changed things around a little bit, and they've got a few players come up from the team below. So they are looking quite strong this year. So that's a great result against Richmond, although Marlborough are a very strong team as well. So it's going to be a tough game. I think if Tahuna can win this next game, then they'll be rolling. But it's going to be a very tough game. So,
are you picking one?
I wouldn't like to say it, to be honest. No,
don't want to drop
Marlborough are quite a strong team there, but I'd love to see Tahuna win that game.
Okay, all right. Bridie, Nelson Suburbs Reserves taking on Garden Motel Motueka. And the Reserves only just went down to you guys. We'll talk about that game very shortly. Let's talk about that now because very tight game. What I hear is that you guys were 2-1 down with what, about 5 to go?
Well, I think it was the 90th minute, and look, it was a good game of football, and I know everyone's got their opinions on it. Difficult for me because I coach FC, so
that's right.
2 penalties decided the game, which Nick Van Adams said you don't really want that to end a game of football, but that's football.
Yeah.
It has happened before. Look, the first one was a bit dodgy. I couldn't really see. Tang's got through. Ethan probably got the wrong side of him, so he was sort of behind him, but it looked like he might have got the ball, and Tang stayed on his feet and then went over and the ref give it. So, end of the day, it is what it is. The second one was probably a bit more clear-cut. I think Tang got through again, but they'd lost possession after kicking off. And then a ball went through from Jermaine, and once again, Tang was away, and I think he dragged it back, and so Ethan put some hands on him or something like that, and he's gone over, and the referee's given it. So, look, it's a bit of give and take, but difficult for the ref. That's what he's seen. Apart from that, I thought he refereed the game quite well, and look, that's football. We're the same referee in Motueka for the Chatham Cup game. We could have had a couple of penalties. We didn't. We lost the game 2-1. It is what it is. Just move on upwards. But look, end of the day, football was a win. It was a great game. Yeah, we got out of jail, and that's we're probably a bit lucky because we did the same against Locos 2 weeks ago. But as I spoke to Dave Turner yesterday, to win the league, you got to have a bit of luck.
Yeah.
So,
Man City, they won some close games.
Yeah,
didn't they?
You got to, but our boys worked hard, and I thought, at the end of the day, we created more chances, and we probably deserved the win. But I think it was the nature of the win with 2 penalties was a bit souring for the Suburbs boys. But
All right.
That's what it is.
So the reserves take on Garden Motul Motueka. What's your thoughts there, Bridie?
Oh, look, they're a good side. Well, they're the feeder team for them, the Southern League side, and they're at home this week. If they get on the big pitch, yeah, they'll be too good for Mott, I think. But, might be doing all right this year, but I'm picking Suburbs here to win that one.
Yeah, Motueka beat Loco last week 2-1. Okay, here we go. Nelson Suburbs Seals versus FC Locomotive. Is it Saxton Geezer? What are your thoughts on that one?
Seals against Loco. Seals, again, they're touch and miss whether they can get their full squad in there. So if they can get all the boys down there, then I'll definitely back the Seals for that one. But if they can't get their players in, it could go anyway. Yeah.
Right.
So with Seals, if they've got their big guns in there, Ben Wright and a few of those boys.
Ben Wright comes up again.
Well, yeah, he's a good goal scorer, that man. So if they can get the boys down there, then they should beat them quite easily. But if not, it's going to be a very close game, I think. Yeah.
For both sides, it depends who turns up, really, doesn't
exactly.
it? Okay, and then last one for you, Bridie, Fresh Choice Richmond taking on you guys. And actually, this is a bit of a dangerous one because the boys will not be happy with going down 10-0. The training during the week, there would be some big discussions. There'll be everyone looking at themselves, and they're going to be really up for this one on their home turf.
Yeah, no. Look, we won't look at that 10-0 and go, well, they're easy meat. They'll certainly be tough. I'm not too sure how they're training this week because all the grounds are closed. We're lucky because we get on the turf and we're on the college boys turf tonight. So, look, we'll just turn up and do what we've been doing. Our boys have been going well. The young lads are sort of stepping up week in, week out. If we play like we did last week, we should win. But, you've got to work for it. And we've got a couple of Kurt Wards away. We lost Corey Vickers, has obviously gone to North Wellington. Toto's still injured. He's got a bit of a knee injury. If we can get him back. But we've got a bit of depth. So hopefully we get up for it and keep the top of the table. But it won't be easy.
All right, Geezer, Southern League Women, this is your territory. And we'll go through the draw, Otago University versus Kashmir Technical. So Technical, well, I thought looking at that score, and I don't know what expectation I had, but going down just 3-1 was my perception, was a pretty good score. But you were telling me before the show, actually, a game of two halves. So can you tell us a little bit about you guys against Kashmir Tech last weekend?
Yeah, so we went down to Christchurch to play Cash Tech. We were a little bit worried about it because obviously the Coastal result was quite a big one.
Yeah.
And they're two good teams, Cash Tech and Coastal Spirit. So we know we've got to bring it to the table when we go down there. And to be honest, the girls don't travel too well at the moment. And we're adjusting to the turf down there. That's quite a tough one at the moment for us to do. So we went down there and, first half, to be honest, we didn't do that bad, but we wasn't playing the football that we can play, a little bit unconfident. And these girls are playing good, 3-0 at half time. So it was quite a hard time at half time, but we went in there, we reshaped, had a chat, changed our formation a little bit, brought some players on, and credit to the girls who went out there and bossed the second half. It was all us in the second half. We had all in their half. We scored a really good goal. Could have probably got a few more. But one thing we did say before is we got to adjust to that turf. It's hard to get your foot under the ball and lift the ball. So quite a few of our shots were going straight into the keeper's hands. And on another day, we said at the end of it, we wanted more time. We probably could have won the game.
Wow.
At the end of the game, we was happy like we won the game. I was a little bit deflated. And then when it went into speeches at the end, Shane Verman gave us big credit because he kept changing his formation as the game was going on. So we was trying to do the same and, beat him at his own game. And second half, it worked really well for us. We had him under the pump, but just couldn't get the result. So a lot of positives from that game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you play at English Park?
Yeah, got moved to English Park. So it's a big pitch out there as well.
It is a big pitch, and the turfs, it's not easy to play on if you're not used to playing on it. That's the trouble we have around here. We haven't got a turf. So
and it is tough for the girls going down there because we've got quite a young team, as you probably know. We worked out the average age of our team, and it's 17 and a half. So especially when we play uni teams and that, they're all 20-year-old girls. So technically, the girls are doing really, really well.
Good.
But just a bit of a physical thing we've got to get over to beat the big teams. But that's all coming. So
yeah. Okay, so I'll get you to do the first tip. So Otago University versus Kashmir Tech, and Otago had a win 3-1 against Universities of Canterbury. So that's a pretty good win by them.
Yeah, good win for them. I still think Cash Tech will do that. Yeah, they're a good side. They passed the ball well. Like we rattled them in the second half, But if they can play their whole game, they're a very tough team to beat. Yeah.
All right. So Nelson Suburbs taking on Dunedin City Royals. And Dunedin 4-2 against Coastal Spirit. So Dunedin's going to be a tough side, Bridie. And based on what you're hearing, home turf, what are your thoughts there?
Well, they beat Coastal Spirit. Coastal Spirit beat these girls 6-0, so they must be quite tidy. It's not going to be easy there, especially on Saxon's big pitch. And I imagine they'll probably like playing on that. But look, Neil, you just got to turn up, front up, and work on what you did last week, and change things. Well, just try and come up with an idea to try and get something out of it.
We've been looking into the away team a little bit. They've been doing quite well, because they bossed their half of the league to qualify for the Southern League as well, and they got some really good standout players. So we're just going to have to doctor our game to suit that, so we can hopefully beat them. If not, get a good result against them anyway. So we don't really know what to expect against these lot.
No.
So where I say Coastal and Cash Tech are the big guns, obviously the Royals are as well down in that side of the country. So it's going to be really good to play against them. And luckily we're at home and the girls are confident at the moment. So could be a very good game.
Good stuff. And University of Canterbury versus Coastal Spirit, well, they both went down last week, so they'll be both looking for a win. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, Coastal is strong. I mean, I'd probably back them in that game. They're a very good team. They got a good coach, and when they play their game, they're really, really good. Yeah.
Kashmir Technical, Otago University, and Dunedin City Royals, the top three in that table, but early days. So
is it only one round? Was it?
No, 2 rounds.
2 rounds, home and away.
Yeah, 2 rounds.
So you got 10 games.
Yep.
Excellent.
Southern League men and the draw this week, Selwyn United versus Ferrymead Bays and Giza. Let's have a look at this one. Well, Ferrymead went down. Selwyn 1-1 draw with Dunedin City.
Yeah, so it could go anyway as well with that game. I'd probably go with Selwyn just because Ferrymead lost their last game. But Selwyn are quite strong on their day, so I'd go for them in that game.
They're on the turf as well, aren't they? They've got a turf, so...
All right, Bridie, Green Island versus Kashmir Tech. So Kashmir Tech, 5-4 over Nelson. So that would have been a big game and actually quite a good result from Nelson Suburbs. And Green Island 3-0 against FC20.
Yeah, well, Suburbs will be disappointed last week. They were 4-1 up at half time. And
right.
I think I spoke to Alex. They said there was a bit of a wind and they had it in the first half, Tech had it in the second half. And look, you got to go 90 minutes for those teams. And obviously, as I said, Tech, very good side. Tech, good shape. They just move the ball quickly. So Suburbs will be disappointed, but that's a good result, 5-4. But when you're 4-1 up, you'd think you get something out of it. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be. And that would have been, they'll be hurting after that. So, but Tech, Green Island, that's in Dunedin. I can't see Green Island winning that one. I'd say Tech.
Okay.
All the way there.
Giza, Dunedin City Royals versus Nelson Suburbs. So Nelson Suburbs got to make the big trip. And, of course, they just went down. Where is Dunedin? What did they happen to them last week? Although that was 1-1 with Selwyn.
Yeah, so I'd have to back Suburbs for that one, for sure. They're looking quite tidy at the moment, even though the Royals are a strong team. They've got their new striker, Connor Gillespie. I'm sure he can go down there and do something for them.
All right, Nomads versus Christchurch United. So obviously Christchurch United sitting top of the table and actually only beat Coastal Spirit 2-0. And so Nomads winning against Ferrymead.
Yeah. Well, I watched Nomads here against Suburbs. It was 1-1, and I actually thought Nomads were poor that day. Suburbs should have won that easy. I can't see them getting anything out of this game. They're at home at Tullett Park. But United, to play 10-1, they've only had the one draw. Eiffels team, they'll be too strong there, I'd say. And
tough team to beat, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They're well organised. They've got a lot of depth.
Well.
Yeah. And just about, I wouldn't say professional, but sort of semi-professional side. A lot of them getting paid, so... Yeah, no, Christchurch not win that one easy.
Coastal Spirit versus FC20, and of course, Coastal Spirit only just going down to Christchurch United, and FC20 going down to Green Island 3-0.
Yeah, well, my vote on that would probably be Coastal.
Yeah.
FC20, bottom of the league at the moment. So
the big three at the top, Christchurch United and Cashmere Technical. I mean, they're quite ahead of the game at the moment, aren't they? It's going to be an upset if
it's top two going to the National League. So I can't see that changing, to be honest. Dunedin City Roar as well. There's still 8 games to go, but I just can't. Yeah. Like the trouble with that league, the 2 top teams are a class above. It just shows how Nelson, like Sobers, are doing all right. You know, they only lost 1-0 in the cup and they lost 5-4 last week, so there's nothing in it. But with Sobers have dropped points in other games, unfortunately. They lost to Selwyn first game of the season.
Slow start to the season.
Yeah, and that's what
they're just getting into gear now.
You know, and it's only 18 games, so you lose a few at the start or drop points at the start. It's hard to catch up against 2 sides who are well on their game. That's for sure.
Overseas and English football news, you may or may not be aware, but the transfer windows are going wild already. It's just a all year round game, really, isn't it, these days? If it's not on the football pitch, it's off the football pitch. Havertz are going to Arsenal from Chelsea, just a mere £65 million. Arsenal and also in the bidding race for Rice. Apparently, the word is Man City out of the race. So Arsenal really going after it at the moment, aren't they? They got a sniff and now they want the title. And Bayern Munich are after Kane, apparently. Geez, that would be a big upset, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, when I first heard about Havertz and Arsenal, I was a bit shocked. And I thought, what's he up to there? But the more I've looked into it, he's quite a smart guy, Arteta. I think he knows what he's up to. And, Chelsea haven't really used him how they should have. They just put him up front where he could probably play behind the striker. So it's probably not a bad idea there. Rice, my opinion, he's going for a lot of money. Not quite sure if he's worth that, but all the other clubs seem to think he is. He's got good stats in there. And, I'm just thinking who he's going to replace him with. Obviously, Xhaka's getting a bit older. Partey's in there as well. So if Rice does go to Arsenal, it'll be very interesting next season for that club. And Harry Kane to Bayern, he was always going to go somewhere out of the Premier League, I think. I thought he might go to United, but
done his dash at Tottenham anyway, I think.
He has, he's got to move on.
Yeah, so I thought he might stay in Premier. I thought he still had some in him, but you think there's no way he's going to see out his years overseas?
Well, I think he'd like to win something. And Tottenham ain't going to win something. I see Postecoglou, Ange has just signed James Maddison from Leicester for $82 million. So that's a good signing. He's a good player, but as I said, I thought Kane was going to United, but Bayern, will he go to Germany? I don't know.
Apparently, this is the second round. They've come back with another offer. So.
Yeah, I've heard it's possibly happening. I did hear that if he's going to move, he's not going to play against Tottenham in the Prem. So he might go overseas.
Oh, really?
Anyway, he doesn't want to play against Tottenham.
Wow, how's that?
Yeah.
Okay, and Manchester City have signed Croatian midfield Mateo Kovacic, I think that's how you pronounce it, from Chelsea. Kovacic, £25 million.
Well, he's a good player, that lad. He, those Croatians are good. You know, they, as I said, in the Euros and the World Cup, they're always doing well. Hard-working lad. Yeah, well, Chelsea, they were shambles this year, weren't they? Absolute shambles. And I don't know who's taken over there, but $25 million for him's not a bad buy. Man City got plenty of money. So, yeah, good on him.
Well, maybe Chelsea are trying to cash in on a bit and then maybe selectively add to the squad rather than buying a whole lot of players. And England actually had a good result against Germany in the under-21 Euros, beating them 2-0. So they'll be pretty happy with that.
Good one.
New Zealand football news and the Oceania Football Under-19 Women's Championships. Geez, it was like pulling teeth to try and find results. But New Zealand ended up doing it against Fiji 3-0 and 11-0 against Papua New Guinea. So they're doing well there and they're into the quarters. So we'll update you on that next week. And the Ford Football Ferns, 21 days to go, Geezer. So what are your thoughts about the upcoming Women's World Cup?
Oh, it's very exciting stuff, actually. Really good time to have it in this country as well. And it's only going to boost the game even more. And to be honest, the Ferns are looking quite good. Yeah, they're looking sharp. Obviously, there's some big teams in there that they got to compete with. It's a shame that all the games aren't over here. A lot of the games are over in Australia as well. But no, it's going to be great. Yeah, it's going to be a really good competition, I think. Hopefully New Zealand can do it.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully
if not
encourage
England.
Yeah, that's right. And hopefully encourage a few more women footballers as well.
Exactly.
You're with Football Focus, and our very special guest is Neil Geezer Harding. You're the Junior Football Development Officer at Nelson Suburb Football Club, and also the head coach of the Southern League women's team at Nelson Suburb Football Club. So, mate, first of all, let's go back in time. So,
did you play?
Yeah, did you play? And where did you play? And where are you from, mate?
Who actually do you support, Geezer?
I've always loved football, to be honest. I've played all my life. I'm a Man U fan, to be honest. Yeah, I'm an Essex boy, but I support Man U. But that came from my father.
How does that work?
I'm not a plastic Man U fan. I've got a lot of family from up there.
Man United.
Yeah, well, my uncle's the same.
I like that over there.
I get a lot of stick from that.
I don't understand it.
I was born in a Man U shirt, pretty much, so I've always loved United. But no, Housestead Town in Essex is where I grew up and I was born, and started playing local football out in Housestead. I've only ever played local league football, really. Haven't had a professional career, but I had a few opportunities when I was younger. A few of us had trials at Ipswich Youth, was there for a little while, Colchester United and Southend, but a few injuries and stuff like that. Never really made it to the big time. So just played local league back in Essex, to be honest. Yeah, until I started travelling and came over to New Zealand.
When did you come here?
I came over here about 15 years ago.
15 years ago.
So, yeah, before that, I was travelling around for a few years.
Yeah.
But no, I've been in New Zealand. Been in Nelson for about 10, 11 years.
So how'd you discover Nelson?
Well, basically, I moved to Kaikoura because when I was in Australia, I met a lot of Kiwis over there.
Yeah.
Went back to England, ended up moving to Kaikoura. And there wasn't a lot of football there, obviously. It was all rugby.
A lot of crayfish.
Yeah. So I tried to get a little bit of football going on down there. A few of the locals and backpackers. We started doing a bit of indoor. And then we come up with a tournament where Picton and Blenheim came and had a little tournament in there. Yeah. I'll never forget it. Half of my team had bare feet because they were all locals from Kaikoura and never played football before. Yeah. But that was a bit of a laugh. But then we used to come on holiday up to Nelson. I always used to say to my wife, I love it up here. It's so good. There's so much football going on. You know, one day I think we should probably move to Nelson. And then a few years later on, we moved up here to Nelson and we haven't looked back since.
Fantastic. So locally in Nelson, you played a bit of footy. So who are the clubs that you got involved with in Nelson?
Tahuna FC, really.
Yep.
Yeah. When I got here, I moved to Tahuna. So I just looked at the closest club to join. Went down at Tahuna, and back then, all them years ago, they had a team in the 2nd division and a team in the 4th division. So there wasn't a lot going on there, but there was a lot of English people there, and they liked a beer after the game. So I kind of fit in straight away.
So Sprig and Fern Tahuna was the local.
That's right. Yeah. Sprig and Fern Tahuna. Sam Fitzgerald is a good lad down there. So we all kind of clicked into that, and I started playing. And before I knew it, I was player coach there, and I've played there. Well, I haven't played this year. This is the first season I haven't played too much because I'm coaching all the time now. But pretty much the whole time I've been in Nelson, I've played for Tahuna.
Oh, so how did that transition happen into coaching? So you're actually doing quite a bit of coaching now, because not only do you have the junior development role, but you're now the Southern League women's coach. So how did that come about?
Basically, I was training, getting ready for pre-season, and I broke my ankle. I've always had problems with my ankles, glass ankle.
Join the club,
as you know. Rolled my ankle, snapped it all over again, and so one of the boys, Matt Rogers and Bays, they were running the club back at the time. They said, "Do you fancy coaching the team?" And I was captain at the time, but I thought, "No, I don't want to be the coach." You know, blah, blah, blah. They talked me into it.
Was this at Tahuna?
This was at Tahuna.
Oh yeah.
They talked me into it. So then I looked into it quite a lot, and I don't really do things by halves. So I started getting quite excited about it. Went back to the boys, and I had all these different tactics and plans and formations, and they were like, "You're mad! What are you up to?" But then that year we won the league. So it was really good. So that escalated into me taking on the team. I always played, so it was running subs whilst playing. It was quite a tricky situation out there. But then 2016 we ended up winning the league and the cup, going unbeaten, and then we did it again in 2020, and then we did it again in 2022. So before you know it, Tahuna have gone from one team in the 2nd division, 4th div. Over a few years now, they got 5 teams, women's team and 4 men's teams, and started to bring a bit of silverware home.
Oh, nice.
Before that, we didn't really win many trophies. So before you knew it, there was a bit of silverware in the cabinet, and it went really well.
Cool. So how did that then roll into your current position doing junior football development at Nelson Suburbs, and then also onto the Southern League women's team.
Did you just go to Suburbs, or they approached you?
No, well, basically, they approached me to start off with because I was basically, I did my C license a while ago in about 2019.
Yeah.
Skippy and the boys were on that one. TJ was on it.
Yeah.
I think there was about 13, 14 of us on that course. I think only about 4 of us actually got through it. It's quite a big course.
Wow.
They don't just give it out to anyone. They make you work for them ones. But yeah, I learned a lot from that. And my boy started getting a bit older, so I started taking him to Suburbs first kicks and all that kind of stuff. And then Skippy approached me one day and he said, because you're always here at every session and you're quite committed to your kids' football, do you fancy helping out coaching? And that got me into the first kicks, so I started doing that. And then that escalated because they're the 4, 5, 6-year-olds. Everybody sort of enjoyed that. Then that went into the first kicks, the skill centre, the older kids. And then he asked me if I wanted to be one of the coaches at the academy, starting off with my boys' age group. So I've had, they're the 12s now, but I had them since the under 9s. They're the under 12s actually playing in the under 14s league, doing quite well. And that just escalated to me going to do my junior level 3 license because you can do your junior 1 and 2 here locally, but you have to travel to do that one because it's more an advanced one. Managed to go down there, and there was lots of people from Christchurch, Dunedin, but I was the only one from Nelson. So it took a bit to get through it, but once I got through it, I was the only one in the region with the JL3 certificate. So that gave me a little bit more incentive to get involved with the youth. And then, so now I'm doing the academy, first kicks and the skills centre group. And we're in and out the schools and all that kind of stuff. So, basically, Skippy saw something in me, gave me a few opportunities, and I jumped at it and started doing it, really started enjoying it, got some good feedback. And I've been doing it for a few years now. So all those different bits and bobs I was doing, we thought as I'm doing it all separately, we might as well put it all into one and become the youth development officer. So I kind of look over the academy teams as well, and a lot of the youth that goes on at Suburbs. Yeah.
Wow, an exciting role.
So you got the women's team up and running and into the Southern League. So did Skippy get into that?
Well, Skippy's got me into a lot, actually. Credit to Skippy. He's actually he's laid down a lot for me in the last few years. But after at the end of the season, Skippy and Aaron Clapham were working on the under-17s boys team for the National League Development League. So those guys were working on that for a while. And then they approached me because I had my JL3 and my C license to see if I wanted to coach those boys. So I was coaching the under-17s National League Development team, and we was travelling down to Christchurch, and we was trying to get into the top 2 so we could open it up to the national. Didn't quite get there, but I feel like if I'd have had a bit more time, because we only had 2 training sessions with the team before our first game.
Wow.
So it was kind of thrown together quite fast.
Yeah.
So if I'd have had a bit more time, we might have been a bit more productive, but that was a really good experience doing that. And that led into Alana Gunn, who runs the Pride down in Mainland. She contacted me after that. And there was a lot of girls involved in the Pride program that couldn't travel all the way to Christchurch for all the training sessions. So she'd asked if I'd put a few on a week, training up the girls. So I did that with the girls for quite a while, about 3 or 4 months, just training them 2 or 3 times a week. So it was actually quite good going from the under-17 boys to the under-17 girls, just seeing the different ability and styles of football and stuff like that. And that ended up into Aaron Clapham from Mainland. He played for New Zealand and all that. I think you might know Aaron Clapham. Yeah. He had the under-15s National League Development team that he wanted me to do. So I was originally planning on doing that. But then also Skippy was mentioning about this Women's Premier League team that he wanted to get formed, and he wanted me to coach that. So I kind of had to make a bit of a decision whether I wanted to go to the under-15 boys or the women. Took me a while to work out what I actually wanted to do. But as I knew a few of the women, and I was getting quite a lot of support from the club with that, I went to the women's team, and escalated from there. So he got me and Phil Platt. Between the 2 of us, we pretty much do everything down there with the girls now, and we're getting about 30 plus girls because we get the reserve team too.
Yeah.
So they've kind of tried to create a pathway for women's football down there, where they've got the academy for the girls for the under-15s, and then the ones that shine there will obviously move into the reserve team. And then the ones that shine there will come up into the Mainland team.
Yeah,
so
fantastic.
For the young teenage girls, there's a little bit of a stepping stone if they want to get into the top team. Yeah.
So tell us about the squad, and tell us about your thoughts on potentially the future, I guess, with them, and a bit of talent in there.
Yeah, definitely a lot of talent. Actually, I was they're not just a bunch of girls that have been thrown together. We've got some really talented football players in the team. And obviously, we're quite lucky to have Amelia Abbott in the team as well. Anna McPhee, they've played high level football, and they bring up the rest of the girls as well. So they've come from all around a few different clubs as well. We've got a few girls from Blenheim come up, and definitely going forward, we're in a really good place, because when you get like the 20-odd-year-old girls, we lose quite a lot of them to the unis. But now we've got quite a few girls that are in their teens. They've got definitely a few more years here to keep developing. So we're only going to get stronger and stronger and stronger, I feel. And credit to the girls, they've been working really hard. They take it really seriously in a professional environment for them. So they're really enjoying it. And it's really good to see what we're doing on the training pitch is starting to work out on the field as well.
So this league that you're in, does that go into a national league or is it just the standard?
I think if
South Island League.
I think it's just a South Island League. I think when they go up to the top, then it becomes the Pride.
Oh, that's right.
So so the girls might be selected to play in the Pride. A few of them are in and out of it as well. And then it's a good way for them to get selected for their country as well.
So, and this league, if you get last, you could get relegated.
I think if we get last, then we go back to the NPL. Okay. So we still be able to play in Christchurch, but not the whole Southern League. No. So it's a really big test, and it was quite a push to get there, because if we hadn't qualified for the Southern League, it would have mean we wouldn't have been funded as well as we have. So it would have mean bus trips and cooking lasagnas. So we started off doing the bus trips and having to have the homemade food and stuff like that. And the incentive was, if we can qualify, then we get to fly down there instead. So instead of staying a night away from the family, you can fly down there in the morning and back in the same day.
A lot easier, isn't it?
So we was pushing. The girls really wanted that too. So they've been working really hard to make it. So when we did qualify, that was a big relief.
Yes.
But like you say, it's not getting any easier. We got big teams to play against.
So we've
got a lot of work to do, and we're all prepared to do it and make it happen. So it's really good.
So as a coaching team, how would you describe your style of coaching? What have you learned through your qualifications?
A lot of people have said to me over the years, I can be quite soft, but only when I have to be, like if I put my serious hat on and things aren't going well, then I can be quite hard, but I try and get the best out of all the players all the time. But I just like to play possessional football. Two-touch football, possessional, touch, move football, get the ball, hold possession in the middle, and then try and score in the final third. Fast passing football, exactly.
Keep the ball.
And look, in the old days of coaching, pretty much the coach told you what to do. And when we interview other sports and their coaching styles these days, do you have to be more collaborative? I mean, you've got a couple of, representative players in there that have played at a higher level. So how do you handle that situation?
Actually, it works quite well. Yeah, because being with Tahuna, when I was player manager, it was all my idea, all what I wanted to do. But since I've been doing these licenses and these courses, it's actually changed the way I coach. From instead of looking at YouTube clips and stuff like that, I'm framing my own sessions and making sure I get the result out of the session and all that kind of stuff. So feedback is really, really important as far as I'm concerned. I got Phil Platt helping me out. He does lots and lots and lots, and we usually agree on everything. But sometimes when we don't agree, we always put it in the pot, and then we go to our captain, and we have a big chat with the captain about that as well. And between the three of us, we always come up with a good decision on how we want to do things. Because at the moment, we're changing. Not every single game, but we're changing quite a lot for different teams in different games because high press and all that kind of stuff. So we're having to change things up, even switching formations halfway through the game. We're working on a bit of that. And a lot of that comes with the captain because if we're shouting on the sideline, the girls are getting confused. So if we give the captain the signal, they can talk to the girls and shift. So the feedback from the players is good. And coaching women as well, we get a lot of questions after training as well. How can I get better? What can I work on? What can I do to get better? Which is brilliant. We've always got to come up with the answers and make sure they're individually progressing. So
you've always got that plan A, and you've got to have plan B, and you've got to have plan C just about these days, mate.
And everybody's got to understand it as well.
And everyone has an opinion.
Yeah.
So do you find that now, Bridie, because you've been in the coaching game for quite a while, do you find that these days you have to be more collaborative with the players?
Look, it's honestly, mate, it's just keeping it simple. That's what I find these days. And to me, it's sort of like you got to have your own philosophy on football. And he's right. It's all about keeping the ball and moving the ball around. But it's just, using the width of the pitch, looking forward all the time. But it's just the key thing with the lads I got this year, a lot of college boys in there who are being well coached over the years anyway. It's just to make sure that they know their roles and they're enjoying it. and they're clear on what we're trying to achieve today. Obviously, we're trying to win, but and as you say, every game you play is different. So,
and a couple of leaders on the pitch. Do you?
Well, that's right. We've got some older lads like Campbell Banks and TJ and Chrissy Main and Jermaine and people like that, and Billy Scott. So it's really good. So we've got a good mix of senior players, and then we've got some young players. So it's actually got a good mix. As long as you gel together and everyone's happy, they know their roles, you should succeed.
What about your players, Geezer? There's some leadership on the pitch there.
Yeah. Well, definitely our captain's credit to our team, and she's really good. She leads the team out there, and then we've got some really good names there as well, like Tessa Highland, Amelia Abbott. Those kind of players, they're really good at, because a couple of the girls, we have got some young girls on the team, 14, 15-year-olds as well.
Yeah, right.
And these are really technically good players. But when they come to the big games, it can be quite overwhelming to even travel on the plane and all that kind of stuff. So to have those other key players around them, it really does help the other team. And obviously for me and Phil, we can only do so much on the sideline. So when they're out there on the pitch, it's really good to have that captain that leads the way on the pitch, for sure.
Fantastic. Well, Geezer, it's been fantastic to have you in, mate. And it's been great to hear about your junior development role and, of course, an insight into the Southern League women's team. And we wish you all the best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. And thanks for your comments on the Talk Nelson Football Focus. Keep them coming. I know you're an advocate for the women's game, so
certainly am now.
It's great to see all the work you've been doing. I really appreciate having you in.
Awesome.
Friday this weekend, so out to Richmond.
Yep, another round of football.
Yeah, and it's going to be normally a big crowd out there, isn't it?
Oh, look, I just love Saturdays. I love going to parks, watching the kids in the morning, watching the girls play. Going and watch the different cultures of teams that play, you know, the Chins and the Karanis and things like that. Yeah. And
that's what it's all about.
You know, it is. Yeah. People playing the game, participating, and the young kids coming through. And of course, I get an opportunity, just like he does, to actually coach a team on a Saturday afternoon, which I try and make a professional environment. I love it. And I wouldn't have it any way. You know, Saturday's just the whole of the week. And and then on a Sunday, I can get out to watch Mainland and play. It's even better. So it's good.
Love for the game.
That's what it's all about.
Mentioning the youngs coming up as well. That's what it's all about. One of the most rewarding part of my junior development role is we go in and out the schools. And a lot of these first kicks and skill centre based things, the kids want to be there and really want to come play. Where when you're going into the schools, you're dealing with kids that have never played football before, don't actually want to play, never thought about playing. So when you can put a little session on, they're having a great time and say afterwards, I love this game.
Yeah.
That's really rewarding. Yeah. So the football in schools, I think there should be a lot more going on around here. It's good.
Good stuff. All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Really appreciate it. And thank you to our listeners. And we'll speak to you again next week.
What's on, where, and when? It's the Talk of Nelson. Talk Nelson Radio.